My name is Karl Fagerstrom, and I'm very happy to be able to present in this very nice conference. And I will give a talk on the new nicotine oral pouches. And this is my disclosure. So first, I'd like to show the nicotine replacement products that we have available. We have many of them, as you can see here, and all products are efficacious, but its efficacy is moderate, and its interest for the smokers and uptake is quite limited. They usually come in low dose, and smokers have difficult to substitute for the nicotine from cigarettes that they are losing. Nicotine can also, particularly for the gum and the lozenge, be irritating in the oral cavity. So therefore, there has been a need for the new nicotine, non-tobacco nicotine oral pouches. The first one was developed by a company in Sweden, Niconovum, with the brand name Sonic, and that was registered as a medicinal nicotine replacement product in 2008. Absorption of nicotine is less irritating from the mucosa between the upper lip and the gum, so from that perspective, it should be a little bit more preferable to the smokers. The ingredients in Sonic, they are all grass, and they are mainly some kind of cellulose to which the nicotine is bound, pH adjusting substances, and flavors. And here to the right, I have put the market leader in the US, Zyn, and its ingredients, and they are pretty much the same as they are for this NRT product, Sonic. Again, nicotine is bound to cellulose, you increase the pH, and there are flavorings. The Sonic pouch was tested, compared with nicotine gum on ability to reduce craving. The reduction in craving is here, and this is after 5, 10, 15 minutes. And the dark blue bar is the oral nicotine pouch. Here we have the nicotine gum and the placebo pouch. And we see at all time points here, the pouch was more efficacious in relieving craving than the gum and the placebo. There has also been a study looking at its product preference according to satisfaction, helpfulness, pleasantness of use, recommend to another, and embarrassing. And on all the variables except embarrassing, you will see that the pouch is more preferred and scoring higher than the gum and the placebo pouch. Today, the category includes many brands. We have a number of brands here, and I'm pretty sure that this list is not complete. There might be more products on the market as we speak here. And here we have the manufacturer of the brands. So the big tobacco we also see here, Imperial, Philip Morris, and BAT, and some Swedish companies. Pharmacokinetics is of course always important. And here we can see the plasma nicotine in nanogram over time, 120 minutes. In the bottom here, we have Zyn 3 milligram. The red is a snus product, the one that was awarded a modified risk tobacco status by FDA, General Snus. And the green is nicotine gum of the 4 milligram strength. Here we have, syn 6 milligram and syn 8 milligram. And certainly all these products, maybe with the exception of syn 3 milligram, give good nicotine levels and are therefore also quite popular, particularly among smokeless tobacco users. This is a very busy slide, but nevertheless, I included it because it is an important slide. We have 25 substances here that has a potential to be toxic. And they have been analyzed for nicotine gum and nicotine lozenge. So here we have the average of gum and lozenge, the concentration. And here we have the average of 4 nicotine pouches of the brand Lift. And I have put in red where the concentration of the actual substance is higher than in the pouch. And in green, the concentration is higher in the pouch than in the nicotine replacement. There are 3 greens, there are 4 reds. There are no big differences. And the take-home message here is that in terms of toxicity regarding these 25 substances, there is no difference between the nicotine replacement products, gum and lozenge, and the nicotine pouch Lift. Who is likely to use these new nicotine pouches? So here we have data from a consumer panel where they were asked of their likelihood to buy syn, e-cigarettes or NRTs. And if we look at the exclusive cigarette smokers, we see if we look at the light blue, the green, and the reddish, there is about 17% or so that have an interest in buying syn. But if we go to the smokeless tobacco users, we see that there is a much higher interest in buying syn, something like 40%. If we go to e-cigarette users, there is very little interest in buying syn or even also NRT and to go back to cigarette smoking. So the main target group, or those who are come forward and buy these products, seem to be the smokeless tobacco users, which is okay, I suppose, but it would be better if the smokers were a little bit more interested. And I suppose that has to do with advertising, etc. And it might happen that the smokers get more interested because smoking is so much more harmful than using other smokeless tobacco products. There is so far very little research on this nicotine pouches, and I've listed here a number of things that need to be clarified. Product chemistry, of course, is important. One would like to know the pharmacokinetics. The relative safety is very important relative to cigarette smoking and maybe other tobacco habits, but also the product itself. What is the acceptable minimum level of nicotine per pouch that can achieve its stated public health goal? This is important. We also have seen that from some countries, particularly Russia, there has been some pouches launched on the market with very too high levels of nicotine, and that can hurt the whole category. So a regulation here would be very good. One need to know about the communication around the product. Is it appropriately understood? For example, if you still smoke and just use a few nicotine oral pouches, it's not much of a harm reduction. So there need to be an entire switch for the pouches to have their full potentials. It is interesting to know about who are the intended consumers. so that they are cigarette smokers or users of other tobacco products. What is the likelihood of unintended use in the population? We don't want kids, adolescents to use this, and possibly, although unlikely, ending up with smoking. We also have to be aware that there is a transition time when you try another product. You don't immediately switch to zero cigarettes. It takes some time for you to get used to the product, to like the product, and to be able to entirely use the product and no cigarettes. Also, we would like to know if the availability of these products, if they have any effect on the intention to give up smoking and tobacco completely. Abuse liability, that's how dependence forming are these products. I suppose they are to some degree, but I also suppose they are not as dependence producing as cigarettes are. So my concluding remarks here are that the ingredients in most of the products are relatively similar to approved nicotine replacement products, and thus the toxic effects should also be relatively similar. With the right regulation, oral non-tobacco nicotine pouches has the potential to be harm reduction tools. Thank you for your attention.